I stared blankly at my phone screen, now covered in texts from Jacob, and wondered what my next step should be. What's the point of taking a next step anyway, now that I know what Jacob is, and that he could find me wherever I go? I realized then that he was probably nearby, stalking me through a window or peeking around a bush, but I know that kind of sounds strange, but I feel like if he was nearby, I could feel his gaze, and I didn't feel anything other than the normal anxiety I had when talking to Chris.
Lily.
Chris said, snapping me out of my own thoughts and back into reality.
What did he say?
He said he can find me whenever he wants. I think he knows I'm with you. I responded, turning my phone screen to him so he could read the texts.
I had a feeling we were out for too long. How long do your runs usually last?
I'm not sure. Not as long as we've been sitting together, I know that. It's been a little over an hour. Chris could sense that I was getting anxious, and who wouldn't? The man that I thought was stalking me was actually after Jacob. And now Jacob is targeting me.
Okay. You're not gonna like what I'm about to tell you. But there really is only one way to fix this.
I didn't like the tone Chris had when he said this. What are we gonna do? Kill him?
We're gonna have to kill him. But don't freak out quite yet.
Kinda too late to tell me that.
Because he's a Darklighter, we have to vanquish him. It's hard to explain.
You're gonna have to try because I'm not too fond of the idea of killing my boyfriend.
I know, I get it.
He continued, seemingly empathetic to my situation.
Basically, Darklighters have crossbows that they use to kill Whitelighters. They have a poison that slowly drains them of their power and then their lives, but they aren't invulnerable to these arrows. It works on them the same way it does Whitelighters. The only issue is, it's hard to get the crossbow away from them.
At this point, I could already tell where this was going.
You're gonna have to be the one to take the crossbow away from him, and the only way to do that is to make sure he knows I'm around.
So, you want me to risk my life and yours to get this crossbow?
Not yours. Although he's been corrupted, I don't think he would hurt you. Not quite yet.
So we're limited on time?
Yes. Which is why I think we'll need to do this today.
Chris and I sat for a little while longer and devised a plan. Basically, it goes like this. I'd bring Chris into the apartment, and we assumed that Jacob would try to kill him with his crossbow. Apparently, these Whitelighters can orb in and out of places, basically like teleportation, so he'd orb behind Jacob and restrict him while I get the crossbow. I'd shoot him, and Chris would heal his body while the Darklighter powers die off, leaving him to be completely human, since his Whitelighter powers can't be restored with this method. After fully developing this plan, we headed towards the apartment and I texted Jacob, telling him that I had stopped somewhere to grab a bite to eat. I knew deep down that he knew I was lying, but I didn't really have any other choice. I couldn't tell him. I couldn't let him know any more than he could probably assume. Despite Chris trying to calm my nerves, I couldn't think straight and my anxiety was through the roof. What if he doesn't live through it? What if Chris has been lying to me this whole time? My worries wouldn't stop running through my head until we arrived at the apartment. At that point, stressing about possible outcomes would just distract me. Chris had to talk me through unlocking my front door, trying to calm my nerves, but nothing would help me settle down. I just had to push myself to do what I needed to do, so I unlocked the door. I just had to push myself to do what I needed to do, so I unlocked the door. All I saw when I walked through the door was the back of Jacob's head slightly above the back of the couch facing the apartment window. Did he not hear me come in? Hey Jacob, I'm back. Sorry I was out for so long. I called out to him, attempting to sound calm and normal. I'm not sure if I succeeded, but either way, he didn't budge.
Hey Lily, I was wondering what took you so long.
I knew it was him talking. But from how still his head was, it was like I was talking to a doll. Something was wrong, and I felt like he knew what was about to go down. What have you been doing since I left? I asked Jacob. Chris walking slowly behind me.
Just relaxing. Watching the city from the window. I assume you didn't see your stalker today?
Nope, actually. Doesn't mean he didn't see me, though. I said with a fake chuckle. Still no sign that he'd caught on to what was going on. Before I could ask Jacob another question, I heard Chris cough behind me. I turned around to give him a look, and I noticed a small smirk on his face. I'm not sure if he did that on purpose, or if it was truly an accident, but it caught Jacob's attention either way. He sprung up from the couch, his crossbow already loaded, and pointed it at Chris. In not even the blink of an eye, Chris disappeared from my side and orbed right behind Jacob, holding back his arms and making him drop the crossbow. Chris couldn't get out another word with Jacob struggling in his grasp, but he was watching me, waiting for me to grab the crossbow and follow through with the plan. I leaned over, picked it up, and held it to Jacob's chest. Chris told me to aim it towards his heart, since that was the best way to make sure his Darklighter powers would truly be vanquished. I felt like I could trust him. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to shoot Jacob in the heart without feeling immense guilt, even if Chris did fully heal him. Against my better judgment, I still aimed at his chest, closing my eyes and pulling the trigger. I heard not one, but 2 agonizing screams come from across the living room and opened my eyes. Both Chris and Jacob were lying on the floor, holding their wounds and crying in pain. I couldn't even reach Jacob before I saw the life leave his body. But Chris was still barely holding on, clutching his chest where the arrow had pierced him. I wasn't sure if I was the last thing he wanted to see before he died, but I still went and held his hand as his shirt grew increasingly darker. I knew he wouldn't be able to speak, and frankly, I couldn't either. So I just held his hand until his grip loosened from mine. As I sat there, trying to understand what I had just done, I watched their bodies orb themselves out of my living room, not even leaving bloodstains on the carpet. If it wasn't for me, at least Chris would still be alive. Although I pointed the crossbow at Jacob's chest, it must have shifted when I had closed my eyes and drifted upwards towards his throat. It hit there first, piercing far enough through him to reach Chris's chest, resulting in both of them losing their lives. I know I had to shoot Jacob either way, but nothing will change the fact that Chris died for my own stupidity and cowardice. I shouldn't have closed my eyes. And now I'm sitting in my living room, updating you, wondering what I should do next. I mean, I'm not sure if Chris had any family or if they were even human. But I knew if Jacob's mom stopped receiving messages from him for an extended amount of time, she'd be suspicious. How do you explain to someone that their son died because of some weird supernatural entity taking over his body? You can't, right? I'm sure I'll figure it out someday soon. But as I sit here concluding this, somehow, I feel a little at peace. I feel like I had ended something sinister for Jacob, and I was with Chris as he died, hopefully giving him some peace about his death as well. I know I can't be sure of either of those assumptions, but that's what I'll have to tell myself until I get things straightened out. Hi everyone, it's me, Michelle Renee, but you're welcome to call me Giggles. Thank you so much for watching the video. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my patrons, Eric Cifuentes, Andrea Sanderson London, Lawrence Wallen, Geek Sanctuary, and Melissa Perez. If you want to become a patron today, I have links in the description, also for my Discord or even for my coffee if you just want to make a one-time donation. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.